the cost of homeownership go up?
I think that's a distributional question. I think the question we're here to talk about today
Yeah,
is
but does it make the
bringing-
cost of homeownership go up?
We're here to talk about housing supply
No,
today.
we're here to talk
creating
about
jobs.
homeownership and the cost of owning a home. Does not, you're a bright man, does that make the cost of homeownership go up when you increase demand that much?
I think that's a distributional question.
You don't want
I
to, you
think-
don't want to admit it, do you?
I think that's a distributional question, and the problem that we're facing
With
is
all due
housing
respect,
supply.
I think you're being disingenuous. Let me ask you, Mr. Pinto, if you increase immigration by 11 million people, does that increase the cost of homeownership?
Senator, yes. We've tried to figure out what that impact is.
I mean, duh.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Red, Blue, and You. Today, we're diving into the fiery exchange between Senator John Kennedy and key witnesses on the rising cost of homeownership. From skyrocketing mortgage rates to government regulations adding thousands to housing costs. Stick around because what we're about to break down affects every American. All right, let's get into it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Senator Warner, I appreciate your comments. I've been very, very perceptive. Thank you. Let me say first, Mr. Speaker, I've served with a lot of speakers of the House back in Louisiana. God bless you. You know, you've got an automatic place in heaven.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have your job for all the money in the world.
I can say the same about yours, Senator.
Well, no, you've got to herd all these free-range chickens that
That's
wander
true.
off and go catch them, and sometimes you can catch some and sometimes you can't.
It's very
So
true.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your service. Mr. Williams, if the price of electricity goes up, does that make a house more expensive?
Not in a direct sense, but I mean, electricity is an input to a lot of things, both on the construction
Well,
side.
it makes home ownership more expensive.
Sure, yes. And
All right. If property taxes go up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
sure does.
If homeowners insurance goes up, does that make homeownership more expensive?
Indeed.
If interest rates, particularly mortgage rates, go up, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
It does.
A lot, right?
Depends on a lot of factors, but sure, it could.
If I mean, when you own a home, you're going to have repairs. If the cost of home maintenance and repairs goes up, does that make home ownership more expensive?
Indeed.
Okay. If you, whether you agree with it or not, if you admit 10 to 12 foreign nationals illegal into your country, all of whom need housing, does that make the cost of home ownership go up?
You know, I think that all of these questions and all of these inputs to
Yeah, but
housing costs.
what about first about illegal immigration? Does that increase demand for housing and make the cost of home ownership go up?
I think that's a distributional question. I think the question we're here to talk about today
Yeah,
is
but does it make the
bringing-
cost of home ownership go up?
We're here to talk about housing supply
No,
today.
we're here to talk
creating
about home
jobs.
ownership and the cost of owning a home. You're a bright man. Does that make the cost of home ownership go up when you increase demand that much?
I think that's a distributional question.
You don't want
I
to,
think-
admit it, do you?
I think that's a distributional question, and the problem that we're facing
With
is
all due
housing
respect,
supply.
I think you're being disingenuous. Let me ask you, Mr. Pinto, if you increase immigration by 11 million people, does that increase the cost of home ownership?
Senator, yes. We've tried to figure out what that impact is.
I mean, duh.
Yeah, but the federal government doesn't publish where they're distributing these individuals around the country, so we can't do the kinds of experiments that we normally do.
It causes home
But
ownership to go up in some places.
But we can't figure out exactly what it is. We'd love to.
I'm not
We
here
need
to
the
play
data.
games. I'm here to try to get some answers.
But if you could get more data, that would be great.
I'm sorry?
If you could get the data released by the federal government as to where.
I'll give you some data. Mortgage rates are up 123%. Premiums for homeowners are up 16%. The average electricity bill in America is up 28%. That affects the cost of home ownership. No wonder people can't buy a home. This dollar, thanks to President Biden and Vice President Harris's inflation, they've been inflation machines. This dollar was worth $1 when President Biden and Vice President Harris took office. It's worth 75 cents today. That's the fundamental problem with home ownership. The other problem is government regulation. Look, the HUD and the USDA recently adopted the International Energy Conservation Code. Do any of you know what that is? Okay, well, I'm not going to ask you because it's going to take time. They recently adopted the International Energy Conservation Code put out by the International Code Council. And the Biden-Harris administration just said, they just told HUD and the USDA to adopt it. So if you want a HUD or USDA loan or access to the housing assistance, you've got to build a home that complies with the International Energy Conservation Code. You know how much it's going to add to the price of a new home? $31,835. Are you kidding me? You know how much energy you're going to save?
Senator Kennedy, you're well into Senator Padilla's time now.
$7. We need to start with the basics, folks. It's inflation that's killing our people, and it's this crazy whack job regulation.
Senator Kennedy, you're well into Senator Padilla's time now.
I'm sorry, Senator.
That's all right.
Senator.
Let's discuss in the comments. Kennedy criticized government regulations. He highlighted the International Energy Conservation Code, adding costs to new homes. Is adding thousands to an unaffordable market the right move? Necessary progress or government overreach? So where do we go from here? Kennedy says it's inflation and overregulation that are killing homeownership. His solution? Cut unnecessary regulations, control inflation, and stop pushing policies that make homeownership a luxury. But what do you think? Should the government step in to lower housing costs or should it back off? Let's talk about it in the comments. And hey, if you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. More content coming soon. Stay informed, stay ahead. See you next time.